Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Basketball fans are bracing for what might be the greatest postseason in NBA history. We could have second-round matchups between the Lakers and the Thunder, the Warriors and the Nuggets, the Knicks and the Celtics, and the Cavaliers and the Bucks. So, do the Phoenix Suns want to be part of this grand spectacle, or would they prefer to exit the season stage left and go their separate ways as soon as possible? 1, 2, 3, Cancun! The proof will be displayed on the court in the final 17 games, where the Suns need to win at least 11 of them to finish 500 or better. They're already currently getting flogged for being sloppy and soft, and a cautionary tale for any team that thinks about pairing three stars together in the future. So, could you imagine the shame of the Suns backing into the play-in with a losing record? The Suns are also getting ripped currently for how KD and his teammates reacted to a big-mouth, trash-talking rookie the other night in Memphis, because they're a team that is way too easily punked, a team that just doesn't want all that smoke. You can expect more of that tonight in Houston, by the way, and we'll see if a fire has finally been lit inside the Suns, or if this wet mattress of a basketball team will finally douse all remaining hope.
So there's a headline in the Memphis paper today. It says, Grizzlies fined, but Suns pay the price. So apparently in Memphis, Ja Morant has picked up Cam Spencer's fine and is going to pay it, because that's what connected teams do, Vinny. They have each other's backs.
It's true. I mean, it is $2,000. Hey, big spender.
Is that what the fine was?
$2,500 for a technical foul. So
okay.
And then Cam Spencer was asked after the game, "Hey, can you repeat?" He's like, "I don't want to get fined again."
Ja Morant has never paid any fines, though.
Yeah, right.
He knows nothing about
He knows nothing about that.
about paying penalties.
Uh-huh.
You set it up well in the column that you wrote on this subject on ArizonaSports.com, and it talks about the roads that the Suns go down. There's one of three paths that they can take the rest of the way. As you illustrated it, Bick, miss the play-in tournament and be stigmatized as the worst super team in NBA history. Number 2, shamed for moonwalking into the play-in tournament with a losing record. And 3, a dramatic run to finish the season, restoring a little dignity and pride to Planet Orange, which would be obviously preferable. There's nothing, if you say the Suns have nothing to play for, you're right. If you say they have no reason to shut it down, you're right. I mean, that's
true.
That's the reality of the limbo that they're in right now. But as you also pointed out in the blast, too, 11-6 over the last 17 games against this schedule seems highly unlikely.
For a team that hasn't won 2 consecutive games, or just, I don't even have to say 2, for a team that hasn't won consecutive games since January. Yeah. It seems patently absurd, and yet have we seen a little spark in this team over the better part of the last 3 games? Take that fourth quarter against Memphis where they drop kicked another W that was being handed to them. And maybe you can. And I like what you said earlier, that we're so yearning to find something to hang on to with this basketball team that we're continually granting them last gasps perceptually. I know I'm guilty of it. And we're taking solace out of losses, which I certainly did in that Denver game. I thought they were going to get pummeled.
And it looked like they were going to get pummeled. And I thought that was a classic case, and that's today's NBA too, and we talk about this all the time. Mm-hmm. To sustain dominance for 48 minutes is very tough against any team that still has a pulse. And the Suns showed they have a pulse. Mm-hmm. So for them to get back into that game and have an opportunity to win it was impressive and somewhat encouraging. But the fact of the matter is, until there is a major adjustment made, and look, it's not happening personnel-wise. I don't think it's happening scheme-wise, 65 games into a basketball season. The major adjustment that has to happen is turn up the heat on the defensive side. Mm-hmm. It's all effort. And I know you don't have a roster filled with great individual defensive players, but the NBA has been littered. The history of the NBA has been littered with teams that have less than stellar individual defensive players, but if they buy into the scheme and they play with a passion and they play with a fire, they can get by it.
Yeah,
and
that's
and
so
you
true.
see the margin of error, and that was talked about after the Memphis game. Margin of error is so small for this team right now, and I pointed it out yesterday. They've made that margin of error so small because when it comes down to one possession and you need a stop, they're not equipped to get one.
Mm-hmm.
And those games have come down to one possession. That's all it is. To muster up
You're right.
something for one possession. Even the last two Memphis games, to get a stop on John Morant in one of those two games, you're talking about 2 wins.
Yeah.
That's how thin the margins are.
Yeah,
even though they might seem like they're a mile wide.
No, you're exactly right. So you ask about what is the makeup of this basketball team today? Are they embarrassed by the discourse that's going on around them after the Memphis game because of Cameron Spencer? Are they contemplating this idea that, wow, we've got this wide open window of opportunity? What will they say about us if we don't make the playoffs? KD, as a guy that knows he's getting traded in the offseason, then there's that. He's not invested in the future of Phoenix Suns basketball. Well, I shouldn't say that. What I should say is that would be a hard thing to rally around if you know this team. If you were upset by the fact that this team wanted to trade me without talking to me about it. You put it all together, who knows what you're going to get from this team emotionally and what that fire, if there is a fire, how it's going to burn. But their margin for error, if they really do want to salvage something of this season, they don't have a lot of margin for error left.
No, they don't. But
You're 5 games under 500 with 17 to play.
But, I mean, the bigger, deeper question is, regardless of what happens, is what salvages this season?
Yeah.
Is it getting into a best-of-7 series in the Western Conference playoffs?
I would say that would, to me, that probably rises to the level of, okay, if you went in as the 10 seed and then you beat the 7 seed and then
But you'd have to beat the 9 seed.
You'd beat the 9, then you'd have to beat the loser of the 7-8 game.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So if you beat the 9 and then beat the loser of the 7-8.
Then you're by default the 8.
Right. Then you've got a series at Oklahoma City. Wow.
2 home playoff games.
2 home playoff games, but then that's Kevin Durant going back to his old place where he gets booed.
And then if that scenario unfolds, look, they are not the Thunder are not a good matchup for the Suns.
No.
They're not a good matchup for most teams. They really flex on the Suns.
Yes, they do.
Then we're talking about 2 consecutive seasons ending in dominant sweeps at the hands of a younger team.
For a team that's for a roster that's about to get blown up, where would be the motivation for that? This is real talk, people. This is the way, they're framing this.
I mean, they have to hear the outside talk. That in itself has to be some motivation of they are supremely underwhelming, but hearing it from national media definitely does not make that worse. And Durant is at the forefront of listening to that.
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, the chore of salvaging the season, that was on it should have been on the to-do list back in early January.
Yes.
I mean, they lost to the Pacers on the road by 18 points on January 4th to fall to 15 and 18. That's when the talk of reclamation projects and salvaging should have happened.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be happening on March 12th.
No, I totally agree with you.